Good morning, YouTube. It's Sunday morning, August the 18th. I believe it's the 18th. Yep, sure is. Pretty day outside, too. Weather's kind of cooled down for last week. Actually, it was unbelievably cold for August. But I'm going to tell you we made some more upgrades to the Torino. My cooling problems in traffic, or overheating problems in traffic, are solved. When I was at Street Ride Nationals, I didn't say anything about this, but I was going to do a video of the installation, but I just got so involved in it, I didn't want to take the time to stop and video and film. I figured I'd just go ahead and get it all together and see how it works and tell you how it worked out. And I'm going to show you how you wire this thing up. But as you can see, that dual fan shroud in there, it's not looking too clear in the screen. It's kind of dark, but usually the video turns out better than what I can see in the screen. But it's a dual fan shroud by a company called Cooling Components. They were one of the vendors up at the Street Ride Nationals. What made me go ahead and spend the money on this, it's not a cheap setup. I was out cruising around. I went cruising around again Saturday night, same parking lot you seen me on the Friday night in my last video. A guy had a 71 Torino with a Cleveland, beautiful car. Just walked up to talk to him, and I got to telling him, well, my 68's sitting over there, but right now I'm letting it cool down. It got hot on me, stuck in traffic. And he said he had been having the same problems. He had removed his stock shroud and mechanical fan setup like I have there, and he had electric fans on it like I used to have. Just the I had a 12-inch and a 14-inch just plastered against the radiator, no shroud, because I could not find one to fit. This one does fit. It fits it like a glove. It's very tight. I wish I had my flashlight. I don't know if you can see that well or not. But he was telling me about this, and he said he had been fighting it for years, much like me. And he said he'd been cruising around, stuck in traffic all weekend, and it worked. So I went up there the following Sunday. I didn't even plan to go to Street Ride Nationals again on Sunday. I usually just go one day just to walk around and look. But I went up there just to buy that. I could have ordered it, but I was anxious to get it on the car. Still took me a while. But I'm going to show you, after I pull the car out in daylight, I'm going to show you how it looks where you can see it better, and show you how I wired it. You got to have relays with it. They sell you the relays. It's not a cheap setup. And also, whenever you make an upgrade to your car, you spend some money, it tends to be a domino effect. Those fans pull a lot of amps. So here's the domino effect. I had to upgrade to a better battery. You don't necessarily have to get this expensive battery, but I went ahead and did it. It's a good 1,000 cold cranking amp battery. 1,000 cold cranking amps at 32 degrees. So it's a very stout battery, and I like to go overkill with stuff like that just to solve my problems. And this is a $269 battery. You probably could go to Tractor Supply and get a 1,000 cranking amp battery for around 160 something, 170 at the most. But this is a battery for race cars or cars with lots and lots of accessories. Say your low riders and your all the electronics for the hydraulics, or you guys with a whole trunk full of stereo system, which I'm not into. Nothing against it, it's just not my thing. I'm an old school hot rodder. But this car does have an electric fuel pump. Now it's got those big fans, and it's got the MSD ignition to run, so it needs a lot of battery. And this battery also solved my hot start problems, which the car doesn't get super hot anymore. But still, with the other battery, when the headers heated up that starter, it would really drag. And I even have a good gear reduction race starter in it. It's an expensive starter. I bought it a long time ago. But without a good battery, they don't really give you much improvement. But now, we're just one problem at a time, solving problems and making this car a lot more enjoyable. And it's stuff that it's been bothering me for a long time, just never had time to fool with it. And I guess that's one good thing about me having the truck apart and not racing, is I've had time to work out issues on this. I should be working on the truck. I haven't done much. But when I get back from vacation next week, there will be some videos on my vacation. Yes, I'm going to New York again. Go try to show you something a little different every time I go there. But when I get back from vacation, I'm going to try to get hot and heavy on that truck again. Try to get her, you know, I want to have it painted hopefully before cold weather sets in, and then I'll have all winter to get the Fairlane out, do a few things with it, do some more stuff to the garage and shop and stuff like that. But what I'm doing right now, I'm going to show you a little something on this battery here. Let me pause the camera and get my stuff out. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this battery. Show you something on the connectors here. Alright, first thing I'm going to show you, I'm going to make some changes to my battery connection setup. It looks like your standard setup from what you can see right now, but it's not as it seems. These batteries don't come with post. I'm going to go ahead and unhook this and show you what I'm talking about. I have a battery on-off kill switch mounted on the rear of the car. The battery is shut off to everything else. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my cable off my battery post connector. That way, once the positive is unhooked, you can lay it down. You're not worried about shorting on anything. I'll go ahead and unhook my ground. Show you these. I bought some adapters for this battery and I ended up not liking it. I went to Home Depot again. Not for these, but actually I went to Home Depot for something that works this time. I know this time it will work. The rubber or drain pipe adapter we used on a radiator hose, no, that didn't work. I showed you that. Sometimes we can try things that don't work, no big deal. You can see it looks like a regular post setup. Let's see if I can get that loose with my hands. Oh. No, I can't. Hang on, I need some vice grips or something. Alright. Probably wondering what I'm doing here. There we go. These batteries come with no post. Maybe you can order them with them, I don't know. But I didn't pay attention what kind of post it had when I ordered it. I figured I would make do with what I got. Here's the bolts that they give you. It's really hard for me to see a screen. The sun's shining right in on me. But they're like a M6 thread. M6, I forgot what the last number was. It says on the instructions. I'm not going to go get them. But that's how the battery comes with these screwed into there. They're a stainless steel bolt. Comes with that little lock washer and then that other washer. There's different ways you can rig up your connectors. What I'm going to do, I bought these the other day. I seen them in AutoZone after I realized what the battery posts look like, and they do fit, but what I didn't like is they didn't fit my old post connector here. Those are not on a taper like most are, and it was okay for a temporary setup, but just to get rid of all that, and actually it probably looks a little neater, I think. You can buy lugs from Home Depot, electrical lugs. They're plenty big for however many amps or volts your battery has or whatever. And all they are, see the hole is pretty much perfect size for the bolt I have. You can get bigger. And you got a little set screw there. You just screw that out. This lifts up. I can screw it up more later, and your cable goes in there and you clamp it down. Actually, I kind of like these better than crimp connectors, to be honest with you. I'm going to go ahead and hook this up. You know, I said it was a cool morning, but it's just been extremely humid again. Hasn't been super hot this year, but it's been so humid. So even when it's only 70 degrees out, you sweat like a pig in this weather around here. Typical Kentucky and Ohio Valley weather. It's only comfortable probably 15% of the time. The rest of the time it's either too cold or too hot, or if not too hot, at least too humid. This has been a really cool summer, which I appreciate after 4 summers in a row, I think, of 100-degree temperatures. I don't think we've ever seen anything over 93 this year, I'm not sure. But Get that good and tight. You can see that I kind of like that setup. And that just goes on like that. And use your bolts they give you with the battery. And honestly, I think that looks a little better. You don't have those big bulky battery posts. They're easy to unhook. You don't have to worry about breaking off your post. You need a metric Allen wrench, which I'm using the closest size to it. I wouldn't recommend doing that all the time, but I don't have any metric Allen wrenches with me. After I get it tight, I give that set screw another little tighten there, just to make sure nothing comes loose on it. And that's it. Here's the battery connectors I used to have. I like these too, but I'm not going to be able to use them on these posts no more. I'm going to save them for something else. Get a thumb screw where you get it close, and then instead of having to get a wrench out, you just clamp them down. We're not using these on this car no more with this battery, but I just want to show you that. Those are pretty nice battery terminals. And we'll get this other one off. Always try to make sure, you notice how I just hit that, but it was on the ground. Whenever you're messing with your positive, try not to hit something else. You'll get a spark, possibly shocked or burned. But on top of that, when you're near gas, you can cause a fire. And it also takes a lot out of your battery. I've taken a good battery and accidentally shorted it out a couple times and had it to where it wouldn't take a recharge. Okay, I'm going to hook this other side up, and I'm going to pull the car outside, and I'm going to show you my fan system and how it's all wired up. Tell you a few more things about what's going on with this car. Alright, the battery posts are done, and like I said before, I like that better than the old post and clamp setup. No more worrying about your clamps getting sprung and not gripping anymore. I just use a little rubberized electrical tape in case something metallic gets on here, keep from shorting the battery out. Actually, I think it's actually safer than your standard setup. Just want to show you that. Now we're going to get this thing fired up, and we'll pull it outside in the daylight. I'll show you more about that fan system and how it wires up. Alright, there's a better look at this fan shroud out in the daylight. Like I said, the radiator is made by, or the radiator shroud and fan system is made by Cooling Components. Like I said, this was not a cheap setup. That shroud with both fans was $265. I'm going to go ahead and be honest, tell you how much I spent. But what the hell? I just paid my house off. I'm kind of having fun buying some hot rod parts. And along with the fan, you have to buy the relays. At least that's what they tell you. I tested these fans before I even hooked up the relays because I wasn't sure how to hook it up. And these fans will run straight off your battery, but these relays are supposed to protect it. I don't know how necessary they are. I went by what they told me since I had to spend so much money on the fan system, but these relays are kind of high. I bet if you shop around, they recommend a 70 amp relay for each fan, and they charged me about $69 a piece at the vendors. If you shop around online, you could probably find the same amp relay, possibly a different brand, for cheaper. I didn't do that this time. But when you buy the relays, you get 2 fuse blocks, which I mounted right there. comes with the cover. I've just pulled one off, and you get a 60 amp fuse with each one of them. You can see that. I got it upside down. There we go. But I just mounted those to that. I'll leave that cover off for now. Put it in my pocket so I don't lay it somewhere. But see if I can remember and give you a good clear instructions on how to wire it. You also get wiring instructions, but I'm going to show you right here on the car. Okay, starting off with the fans, you get 3 wires coming out of each fan. Here is one right here. The other one, the other fan is, where's that thing? I got it running through there somewhere. I got it kind of hidden up through there. But here is one of the wiring, part of the wiring harness that comes out of one of the fans. Got a black wire, which is ground. You have a brown and a gray. One of them is for high speed and the other one's for low speed, but they say if you wire them together you get high speed all the time. I wired it that way. They go to your orange wire coming out of your relay. Of course, you got 2 relays. I got one relay going to each fan. So your orange wire goes off your relay, goes to your gray and your blue of your fan. There are different. They also make different solenoids where you can adjust the temperature. I did something different. And of course, like I said, black wire goes to the ground. And on your relays, you got a orange wire. Just told you, goes to the fans. Black wire is a ground. The red wire is your hot wire. It goes straight to your battery. It goes straight into your fuse box, which I loop both of these together, and then one of them goes to, let me follow my finger here again. Okay, let me do this again. Okay, I looped them together, as you can see. One wire goes from this one to that one, and then I got a hot wire coming off of this going to that. And then you got your hot wires going to each relay. Each fuse is wired to each relay. Got that. And then you have a pink wire coming out of each relay. They go to a power source, as they put it, a power source when the key is on. I just hooked it to a toggle switch for now. I'm fine with that. I like that because you can override it just in case. And these fans work so well that I ended up having to buy a temperature sensor solenoid. This is not Cooling Components product. I went to Jigs. I forgot the name of that actual switch. And the reason I didn't buy a Cooling Components temperature switch, I bought a Ron Francis wiring. It is let's see. Okay, here's what I'm looking for. Okay, it's designed to turn on at 176 and off at 161. I always like a 160 degree thermostat if I run a thermostat at all. Only thing Cooling Components had was a 180, and that's why I did not buy their on-off switch. That's a pretty simple setup. They give you a whole harness for a different type setup, which I did not use. But all this does is connect the ground. You see one wire coming out of it. If you can see that down in there behind the distributor, there it is. Pretty easy. Just find you a it's a 3/8 pipe thread, I believe. I believe it says it on here somewhere. I'm looking for it. If you're looking at this, you probably already see it. Yeah, it's a 3/8 pipe thread. Yeah, 3/8 pipe thread. You just find you a hole in the intake, and like I said, I found one right there. And all this green wire is the ground. What it does, when the engine is not up to temperature, the sensor switch breaks the ground and makes it not work. I hooked this one green wire to both the ground wires of my relays. And that way, even if I turn the switch on, they will not come on until the temperature is up. And there is one thing I'm going to change just in case that switch goes bad on me. I have a 3-way switch, which I bought. I don't think it's out here. It might be out here. And I'm going to use it. I'll do it later on. I probably should do it before I drive it too much, just in case something goes wrong with that temperature switch. I think the actual three-way switch is in the house, so we won't show that to you right now. Oh wait, I'll shut off the camera and go get it. Alright, there's the switch I was telling you about, three-way. And what I'll be able to do with that is, in case my temperature switch fails on me, I can override it. The switch, you can, the switch will, I don't have it out of the package right now. I guess I could show you. There we go. The switch will go on that way or that way, and you can use it to wire it to either connect the ground after the solenoid, meaning the solenoid will control it, and I could also connect another override wire to where it will ground the relays when I switch it down this way. That's how I have it. That'll be off for either option. Up will be for using the solenoid switch, and if for some reason I'm driving down the road and my car gets hot, my fans aren't coming on, I think maybe my solenoid switch stopped working, which solenoid switches tend to do, I will be able to do this, click it down and override it and go to a manual to where it's always running until I shut the car off or turn off the switch. And that's something I really should go ahead and do. I don't know if I'll do it today or not. I got some wood to cut up, but I might do that through the week. But I'm going to start this car up and warm it up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how good these fans work. Used to be, if you get this thing up to about 200 degrees, the only way to recover is to get it on the interstate at about 60 to 70 mile an hour, and it would cool down, or just shut it off and wait a couple hours. But now, that's how I first tested these fans when I wired it up, before I even got my switch, and that's when I realized I needed a switch. Was these fans work so well, you need that solenoid shut-off switch, because you don't want them running all the time. Only when they have to be on, and they will kick on and off. They work that well. But I tested it by getting it up to 200 degrees with no fans running, and then I turned them on, and within 5 minutes you could watch the gauge go down. And that's what you want. You want it to run at operating temperature under any conditions. That way there's no problems. And as usual, whenever, I think I mentioned it before, whenever you buy something like this, make an upgrade to your car, there's always a domino effect. And you already seen it with the battery. I needed a better battery because of this. And something else I noticed Friday night, I'm going to need to get a better alternator. This I bought off of eBay. It's a chrome alternator, only paid 69 bucks. It's supposed to be 100 amp. I doubt it is 100 amp at that price. I have no way of knowing it. I guess I could test it, but I'm not going to get into that. I went ahead and spent some more money and bought a 140 amp alternator upgrade. It's a one wire style. It's made by PowerMaster. I guess there are some kits where you could upgrade your stock original alternator to more amps, but I wanted the big 140 setup, and that way I know my battery's getting full charge. One thing I noticed Friday night driving around with the headlights on is that I pulled it in here and the car still started okay, but I hooked the charger to the battery just to see where it was at. I was only at 55%, and that tells me it started to drug a little bit, but it started a lot better than it ever did with my smaller battery. But that tells me if it's only at 55%, my alternator is not keeping up with everything running. And like I said, I have electric fuel pump, MSD ignition, and now I have these fans. And if you're running headlights, I noticed my turn signals got really slow and stopped working sometimes. So yeah, we don't want to be running off of the battery under any conditions. So I'm going to be upgrading that, and I'll show you how to hook that up. I found the instructions online before I even ordered it. It looks simple. So let me start this thing up, get it hot, and I'm going to show you how good these fans work. Okay, like I told you, I've let the thing warm up to 200 degrees. I get the fan switch off where they can't even come on, even with the solenoid. And I'm going to kick them on. I can hear them running. You probably can't. I want you to watch that temperature gauge. We're actually at a little bit over 200 right now. So watch that temperature gauge. It'll take a few minutes, but be patient. You'll see it fall back down. Just doing this to show you how well those fans work. I mean, this car you could not drive it in slow traffic for any long period of time before this fan set up. It's already dropped a little bit. There it goes. Just starting to get on the other side of that 200 mark. And this is with the car sitting still. So, of course, it was still circulating coolant, meaning that the coolant in the radiator was also hot. So it makes the fans work overtime that way, and as you can see, they're still working. Temperature's going down. Sorry about the shaking. This car doesn't have a huge cam. It's got a little bit of a lope, and it could use a tune-up. These spark plugs have been in here for more years than I care to admit. So, as you can see, that temperature's going down, and I'm hoping it won't take too long, but I would like to show you how it will get it all the way down to 160 and the fans will actually shut off. See that? We're about 180 now, I guess. Wish I could give you a better angle, straight view of that gauge, but my shifter's in the way for that. There it is, a little dot between 200 and 130, I guess it's 160. Whatever the half of that is. Yeah, about 165 probably. And yeah, hope this isn't boring you too much, but like I said, I just want to show you how quick these fans will cool you down. And you know, 200, a lot of new cars run at 200, 210, that's thermostat. They pretty much have to, because all the computer crap on them will tell you something's wrong, I guess. And I don't know if that's beneficial to the motor or not. I know with these older cars, I like 160-degree thermostats myself. And as you can see, it's down to the 165 mark. I think it's supposed to kick off at 161. So we'll go out here and show you the fans. Try to talk loud enough. I noticed in a few of my videos of the engine running, you can't hardly hear me. And wish I could find a string or something to show you how fast or how much air these things actually blow. Actually, the fan is actually moving that wire. I'm going to reroute that wire later. A lot of my wiring, as you can see, my water pump snug just plugs it when it warms up. The fans kick on, everything heats up, the shroud kind of swells out. So far it hasn't hurt anything. I can't smell any of the fiberglass burning. I know it's not a good thing, but how close the setup is. Give you a good view of that fan shroud. It's a well-made setup. Those fans will probably kick off here in a minute or two. And to bolt it on, I made my own little clamps right here. I got 8 of them, 4 on top, as you can see. I just had some scrap aluminum around and cut me an L shaped bracket, made them on my mill, sawed them all out. Nothing fancy, didn't polish them, just got to clean up sharp corners with the file. But yeah, everything's looking good. We get that alternator on here. Hopefully the new 140 amp alternator will keep up with the charging while these fans are running with headlights and all on. I mean, I want to drive it at night. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do with it. And after that, I thought about coating the header. But this fan should be kicking off any minute now. We'll go check that gauge. Oh yeah, they should be kicking off any minute. It's below the 165 mark. Give you a little walk around of the car while we're waiting. I don't want to bore you too much. I don't know if you had a good view of the interior or not. I think one guy did request a walk around of this car, so here it is. Some of this interior is original, some of it is not. I did replace the carpet, headliner, all the door panels are original. Originally this thing had a bench seat, automatic on a column. I found these bucket seats in the junkyard a long time ago, back when you could find these cars in junkyards. It's kind of a rare thing anymore, especially here in the Rust Belt, Ohio Valley or Kentucky. The rear panel is original. You see on speaker holes you may not like. I don't like it either, but that's the way it was when I bought the car. And it's kind of a sentimental thing for me to leave it like that. I eventually need to put a stereo in this car. It is a driver, not an all-out race car, but I will eventually do some things and take it to the track again. But there's your walk around of it. Fans are still running. They should be kicking off any minute now. Of course, we put them to the extreme test by letting it warm way up with no fans on. Yeah, see, it's at a very respectable temperature though. If we were driving this, we wouldn't have to move very far down the road at all. I'd say 30, 35 mile an hour, and they would definitely kick off. You just can't match air moving through your radiator at 35 miles per hour or more. But I can feel the fans blowing on me from back here. They work that well. Kind of wishing they'd go ahead and cut off. I don't want this video to be too awful long. But yeah, there's a lot of other things I want to do to the car. Some of this wiring, as I mentioned before, is tacky. I'm going to be hiding that. Not exactly sure how I'm going to go ahead and do it, but I'm going to hide a lot of my wiring. And as you can see, I use twist ties to connect it. That was just, that's temporary. I'm going to find some good plugs. The plugs that came with the relay kit were kind of a pain in the butt. That's why I didn't use them. They have a spring-loaded plugs that snap together and you're supposed to be able to pull apart, but they were really a pain in the butt to get together, and it was getting late and I got frustrated with them. Well, these fans are going to kick off sometime. There they go. All right. They kicked off. And I may edit some of this video out so it isn't too long, but I want to show you how well the solenoid temperature switch works too. They'll kick back on here in a little bit. So I'm just going to film it, but I'm going to edit out if it takes too much time and just show you right before they kick back on. Of course, it won't take long to heat back up now that the car's good and warm. But it'll run for a little bit. There they go. It didn't take long sitting still. Just to show you, it only took like 2 minutes, if that long. Just to show you that they heat back pretty quick. I back up pretty quick sitting still. But if I was driving it, it would take longer than that. So, we'll call this a video. I just want to show you how that cooling system worked, how it wired up. I know my wiring instructions are not very clear. I still need a lot of work on my speaking abilities on camera, but I just want to show you how loud these fans are too. So if you have any questions on how to wire this setup up, feel free to do it in comments or a private message. Glad to help people out, especially with you guys who are working on old classic cars and doing it yourself, not paying the rich business guy to make his workers sweat and bleed to put money in his pocket. If that makes any sense to you. I'm not big on big businesses. They get rich off of the blue collar guy. The blue collar guy is who does all the work. Thanks for watching.